underwater imaging industry. A published underwater photographer, speaker, and competition judge, he brings invaluable expertise to the scuba diving community. Not contented to be stuck behind a desk, he's also an SSI instructor trainer and certifier. Nick actively trains and certifies new diver instructors, shaping the future of the industry. Yeah? Right, his passion extends to marine conservation, where he volunteers with Shark Savers Malaysia, a program of wild aid to protect ocean life, especially sharks. With a deep commitment to underwater imaging, both in photography and videography, Nick blends technical expertise, artistic vision, and conservation advocacy. His extensive experience and contributions make him a respected authority in the field, continuously pushing the boundaries of underwater storytelling. Right, whether we like it or hate it, technology is the part of the parcel of the underwater photography or video. The question is how to the best leverage it or complement it, yeah? Right, does it add to subtract the final creation? What are some of the ways of technology is already making a splash in the area of underwater imaging? Nothing to fear but fear itself. So, the stage is yours, Nick. Thank you very much. A warm welcome for Nick. Thank you.
Testing, testing. Very good afternoon, everybody. Can you all hear me all right? Okay. So, bit of bad news. I've got no pretty pictures, no pretty videos to show you guys. So, unfortunately, that means you will actually have to listen to my voice. So today's presentation is all about role of technology. And as far as we know, or as far as most of us know, when I say the word technology, what springs to mind? Just in general. Anybody? When I say technology, what comes to mind? You have to speak much louder. AI, wonderful. So, especially these days, a lot of discussion has been around AI and the use of AI. But, okay, clicker not working. So, technology itself, by definition, according to Oxford Dictionary anyways, okay, I'm too far away from the clicker. Okay, so anything, any kind of improvement that involves scientific knowledge and practical purpose that results in something better. So if you think about it, something you use today, the telephone came about many, many years ago. Back then, it was considered technology back then. So whether it's tools in today's world, digital advancements, automation, AI, enhanced capabilities, all this falls under the realm of technology. Okay. So what does this got to do with photography? Very quickly, just a snapshot, very quickly. And those who speak French, please don't murder me. The first photograph, I think his name was Joseph Nietzsche. I'm not French, I try. Was back in 1826. And what we are doing today, if you go down from 1800s to 1930s color photography, first digital camera was by Kodak back in the 1970s. Until today, your everyday device that's beside your body that you take for your food photos, your friend photos, your selfie photos, your AI camera, right? Those are AI-powered smartphone cameras. Okay? And this is just a visual representation, just to give you some idea what we used to work with back then. We, as if I was still there. This is officially recognized as the first underwater photograph. Right? So no selfie. So he was diving bell. And the person who is credited for this photo sounds a bit like your branded handbag. It's Louis Vuitton. Not Louis Vuitton, huh? It's Louis Vuitton. Back then in 1893. So photography and underwater photography has come a long way from 1950s to the present day digital era, including things like what we have now. We are taking DSLR or mirrorless cameras underwater. Lighting has changed, and even, as mentioned, AI. So how does this affect some of the challenges that we face? So anybody else, what do you think are some of the challenges that we face in underwater photography? Anyone? Some of the challenges of underwater photography? Speak loudly.
Camera fogging.
Fogging? Okay, housing fogging. So, physics, anyone else? Battery finish. Battery finish, battery technology. Very important. Back then in film days, we say we run out of film. Same equivalent. So, equipment is one of the things. We talk about equipment being bulky, right? Affects you as a diver. Physics, right? Some of you may not realize it, but the fact that your camera is in a flat pot itself, there's some distortion there. So limited airtime, limited battery time. Basically, it affects how much time we have and ability to get our shots. And for those who are diving quite a lot, water movement, currents, surge, being able to compose our shots, being able to stay stable for that sharp, clear shots. Right? So all those are challenges we are facing. And for beginners, especially those who don't dive very often, things like buoyancy control, all those affect your ability to get a good image as well. And another law of physics, we lose color. Very simple, right? So we all suffer from this thing called BBGG. I call it BBGG. Blue, blue, green, green. Right? All your photos come out BBGG one, blue, blue, green, green. Doesn't have to be that way, but yes. So where is this leading me to? I can't address all of those barriers or challenges, but I'll try to address one area, at least in terms of lighting, right? How do we prevent blue, blue, green, green disease, okay? We want to prevent blue, blue, green, green. And how does technology play a role? So today, we have an advanced version or a better version, improvement version of what we call TTL for underwater. In the past, TTL was introduced about 1980s. It didn't get a very good reception back then because it was inconsistent. It was a hit and miss. It's a way of having your strobe on automatic. The strobe decides how bright or how long the exposure, how the light is exposed. So because it wasn't accurate enough, most of the photographers decided not to use it. But the technology was there, right? Because it was inconsistent. You couldn't get the results that you wanted. But the fact of the matter is, what it does help is, TTL is able to automatically give you that exposure of light, okay? Especially coming from the strobe. So when you don't have to worry about, okay, I need to fiddle with my strobe, how much light, the fish swim by already. Right? So the strobe itself now decides how bright it needs to be. It also offers consistency in changing water conditions. So you can be taking photos and the marine life decides to move from one part of the water to the other part of the water, and suddenly your color has all gone. Right? So having automatic strobes with automatic with TTL compensates for that. And for most beginners, this is a good way to start because you have one less thing to worry about. So you can focus on your camera settings, for instance, focus on the composition of your shots as opposed to trying to worry about, I need to do my lights, I need to ISO, I need to shutter speed, I need to do aperture. There are so many things as it is that you need to worry about. So taking one item off that list of things to worry about. And because it's TTL, dynamic scenes work better, or rather, you have a better control over dynamic scenes, which is similar to changing environments. So again, just like automatic, if you drive an automatic car, you don't have to worry if you're driving up the hill or you're driving on a flat road. You just basically have to keep pressing the pedal. One thing, okay? Okay. And with and other cameras, together with Nikon and Canon and Sony and OM, they are now camera-driven TTL system, which is what we are looking at developing. This provides greater accuracy in terms of the exposure, working with the camera's manufacturer technology. So there are many reasons to use TTL, right? Especially in underwater photography. For most, it's a starting point. So for most pros, and hence the pro tip, it doesn't mean that you rely on it 100%. Once you know what the strobe can do, you can still tweak how bright you want the strobe to be. It's not a fully automatic, and you can control that through the camera, right? So this is what you have as you become more experienced as a photographer. So just a case study and an introduction. Here's the product selling point. So what you see in front here is the most recent launch from AOI. What we've managed to do is to incorporate a multi-system TTL into the strobes. So which means the strobe that you see, very small, very compact, we've incorporated OM system TTL and Sony camera TTL. So if you are working with Sony or an OM system camera, you can employ TTL in your strobes. Okay? So this brings about a basic change in terms of how you can shoot and what you can shoot with your camera. Just a highlight. Since the clicker doesn't respond so well, I'll bring up all the slides. So in the strobe itself, it's termed as the Intelli mode. So it's the TTL controller. It also has a setting. They call it iMacro or intelligent macro, which means the lighting is even more accurate. When you set it to iMacro, you are telling the strobe and the camera basically, hey, I'm shooting macro. What this means is now the strobe understands your settings doesn't need to be that aggressive because your strobe is near the subject, your camera is near the subject. You don't have to have too much power. You're shooting macro. So the strobe will not, chances are it will not overexpose the shots. Okay? So as I mentioned, aside from TTL, you also have high-speed sync. So the equivalent of shooting at a higher shutter speed. For most of us who worked with conventional strobes before, they limit our shutter speed to about 1/200 or 1/250. So now with HSS, you can shoot 1/2000, 1/3000, very high shutter speeds, which means you can capture all the fast-moving animals. Or if you're shooting macro, maybe you want to create a black background effect to help your picture stands out. So those are the things that you can do with the strobe. Because it's so new, it's literally just been launched here at MIDE. Its predecessor, or its cousin if you like, the UIS P1, where most of these features were adopted from, has been thoroughly reviewed. So if you want to check out a full review on its predecessor or cousin, you can scan this, or you can check out the URL here. Okay, and you can see a full review of the UIS P1. Alternatively, after this show, if you want to find out more about the strobes or how TTL works, our booth, and I'll be over there, just right that corner where the lights are shining into my eyes. Hence, they look a little bit small. So, all this is fine and great, but there's always this argument. Is technology a bane or a boon? Right? Is it good or bad? How do we balance it? So, obviously this video suffers from the BBGG disease. Blue, blue, green, green one. Right? So not a very good video. Okay, the screen's not very good. But basically, what you can see is with one button, literally one button, even for video, we can recover color. Right? That's how far we've come in terms of technology. So we mentioned AI just now. So on my small screen here, it looks great. Unfortunately, on the big screen there, not so great. It's a little bit too saturated. But you can see between the left and the right, the color correction already. And this is one button color correction. So what does this mean? So no need to worry about anything, just shoot first, blue, blue, green, green, never mind. I just put one to my app and it will be fine after that. Yeah, maybe. But this is just a philosophy on my end. Yeah. So tech is a tool. All technology is a tool. Don't use it as a crutch. Don't use it as a dependency. If you're going to shoot photographs or you're going to shoot video, learn to shoot in RAW, right? Because once you have the fundamentals, you know better what to do later with the technology. If you don't know the technology, how it works, you're perpetually is a guess at best. Learn your manual settings because that maximizes your technology. Anyone here shoots with the TG, for instance? Oh, he shoots with the TG in a CCAM housing. But realistically, when you shoot with, for instance, like compact cameras, which you don't have much control over the settings, if you know your basics, if you know your manual settings, there are ways and means to cheat the camera into performing like a manual. But that's only if you understand your manual settings. AI is there, but doesn't mean you have to use it, right? So the technology is there. Learn how to use it responsibly or use it sparingly. So for those who do touch up in Photoshop, Lightroom, whatsoever, I tell my students, get your picture right and your editing time is limited. You are an underwater photographer, not a desktop artist, right? So don't shoot a photo, come up and spend the rest of the evening frustrated behind the desk. Get your pictures right. Aside from camera work, etc., you as a photographer, right? Try to be a responsible photographer. So even use of lights, for instance, we've had discussions before. Pygmy seahorse. Anybody knows what pygmy seahorse, right? Everybody knows. Small little critter on a sea fan that you can hardly see, and you have 5 to 15 divers lining up behind, all of them with a pair of very bright strobes, firing off 50 shots at the diver. Even right now, I'm being blinded by the lights. So imagine the little pygmy seahorse suffering from celebrity shooting. No baiting or harassment. So for instance, Formula, known for their sharks, right? It's controlled environment. So the baiting is handled responsibly. Don't move your creatures, don't manipulate your creatures. And then respect your no-go zones or respect areas where you're not supposed to go. If it's not within your training, please don't do wreck penetration just for the sake of taking the photo of the shells in the wreck, right? It's a risk. Be ethical. Be responsible. And that responsibility extends to conservation as well. So when you are a photographer and if you are able to make use of the information as a photographer, your pictures speak 1,000 words, as they say, right? When you bring that camera down, you have the opportunity to share both the ugly truth and the beauty of the ocean. So things like, for instance, coral bleaching, plastic pollution, all this is happening. But people don't know it who are non-divers. But your pictures, because you share it into social media, tells them all this thing. This is what's happening, right? Or get involved in citizen science projects. So I see many NGOs or NGOs related here. Get involved in coral propagation. Get involved with reef check, equivalent. Yep. Pay or do your part as a diver, right? Or every dive is a dive against debris, not just, oh, we're having a cleanup, then only that cleanup, I clean up rubbish lah. But every time you go diving, no need to clean up lah, the rubbish is there, it's okay, right? So make every dive an opportunity to clean up. And if you can get involved, there's also things like documenting climate change, capturing data for marine life, like whale sharks, like mantas, and so forth. Okay. And related to that, what we have today in terms of technology is social media, right? And for those of us who's been shooting action cameras, it's instant social media content, almost. You bring the camera out, you pair it with your phone, immediately you have the footage on your phone, press one button, the color is corrected, it goes to your social media, the good and the bad. So all these are within your means. So some people I like, and I particularly like Ocean Ramsey. She's a great great advocate for sharks. Wonderful videos, right? So you have a social media account. Your social media account is seen by other people. So you have a voice. When you take those photographs, especially the ones that are well lit, well composed, showing the beauty of the ocean, you are sharing with people that beauty that only you are able to see right now. Okay? And we covered this a little bit. This is also my own philosophy. I call it learn film era. Most of you are, I would say, still digital era. So film era is when we had, back then, 36 exposures. That was it, not an infinite digital SD card, micro SD card that takes few thousand shots before you get it right. So we had that limited opportunity. And then use the tech for good. So even today, AI, you can take part in things like Fish ID, right? Contribute your pictures, right? And there are also research. So the technology is there for good. So please do make full use of it. And in summary, the best underwater photographers don't just take. We'd like to be able to give back. Whether it's through citizen science, conservation, storytelling, or just leaving a minimal impact. And when you go diving, the goal is to use tech to deepen our relationship with the ocean and not to replace it with artificial perfection, right? So it's not so much as making sure you have an AI perfect image. It's fine, right? The technology is there, but it doesn't mean you have to make it until it looks hyper real or almost fake. So the thought I leave you with, technology should serve the ocean, not just the shore. Okay? So, and that gives me exactly 5 minutes to take questions if you have any questions. Or if you want to step up and take a closer look at the camera and the strobes, you're welcome to do it. Any questions? Yes? No questions? I'm single for today, in case anybody is interested. No? Okay. My wife in front lah. Any questions? In serious note, anybody on photography, technology, TTL, strobe? Yes? No? Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my little philosophical piece on technology. Thank you very much.